Okay. I hope you all had a good weekend and that you are still surviving midterms. We'll see if I do. So just as a reminder of what we are doing, let me share this, my desktop. Okay. Oh my Lord. Okay. Okay. We are going to be basically spending the whole time working on these problems. So where we left off on Thursday was we had written out, that is wrong, that is right, the dictionary according to the instructions of the first problem one, changing it up, where we asked you to initialize a list that contains numbers and strings, create a dictionary with all of those elements as its keys, and then assign a certain list value to those keys based on what the element is that you're basing it off of. So, for example, if I initialized a 3-element list that has 2, the string hello, and the string 6, then my dictionary would be 3 entries long. We would have the first key would be 2, and the first list value that corresponds to that key would be 2 to the 0th power, 2 to the first power, to the 2 to the second power, and 2 to the third power. Because that's what I asked for. I asked you to take the key number and raise it to the 0th, first, and second, and third powers. Then I asked you to take each string and create a list value that corresponds to it, and make that list value 6 elements long, which repeats this value 6. Cool. So that is called a brute force method. Brute force sucks. Can you imagine if this list were like 12 items long or 2,000 items long? That would suck. You don't want to write all that out. So what I want you guys to work on now is working with, you should be working with loops, conditionals, and dictionaries to create this dictionary with the without writing it out the way I've written it out. Yeah, feel free to talk to your neighbors. I'll stop you guys in like 10 minutes to see what kinds of approaches people are thinking about. And then I'll stop you again after another 10 minutes and we will walk through the problem, preferably with input from you guys, although I know everyone's probably half asleep. So just work on this logic. I recommend trying to write things out on pen and paper because computers are weird. But yeah, do you guys want music while we work? Dope. Let's do it. Okay. And then for those of you on Zoom, please take the time to pause the video and start working on this problem as well. I will stop recording and then I will return when we start talking through it. Recording. So all of these recordings are up on YouTube. And the link to it is, where is the link? The link to these recordings are, so here are the previous semester. And then actually I should add a link to this, but I'll do that after the class. But there will be a link to the current semester's recordings playlist, but it should be under a playlist called Fall 2024. Okay. Approaches so far. Where do we start? Mm-hmm. Great. So just ignore all of my tabs. It'll stress everyone out. So let me see if I understand what you're saying. So you've created a dictionary with all the list elements as keys, but you're trying to figure out how to make the values that go with those keys.
Right now, I just assigned to 0.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So assigned to 0, yes. So here's a thing that may be useful, is looking up how to add a key value pair to dictionary Python. How to add key value pairs. Cool. DataCamp's pretty good. So if you have the initial dictionary info, oh God, this is a ridiculous, okay. Example of a dictionary. So if we have a person whose name is Alice, her age is 25, and the city she lives in is New York, if you want to access the name, then you call person, which is the name of the dictionary, and then name. Cool. Talked about that. But how do we add something new? If we have a dictionary, so this is just another way of initializing a new dictionary. You can add a new key value pair to the dictionary with this syntax here. You call the dictionary, and then in square brackets, the the key that you want it to be. And then the value that you want it to be set to. So I like where you're going with initializing a dictionary with these key values already there, but you don't have to do that. Because you can initialize an empty dictionary and then add to that. Does that make sense? Good. More approaches here. If we have, Brianna, I'm gonna write on the whiteboard. I mean, you're welcome to stay, but I will be like walking right in front of you. So we have a dictionary that's empty. And we know the syntax for setting, we know the syntax for setting a new key value pair. So if I say dictionary of, I don't know, thing is equal to some list called thing, or with elements thing, whatever. Then if I say, if I call dictionary a thing, then it will return. So if I say print this, it will return this list. Because now this dictionary has this key value pair with the key string thing. And then the list of 2 elements with the words thing. Which was probably a short-sighted example to give you guys, but there it is. So another way of saying this, if I say dictionary of, let's add a new value. Let's call it, let's actually add a value called 3. We'll set it equal to 3 to the 0th power, 3 to the 1st power, 3 to the 2nd power, and then 3 to the 3rd power. If I now print dictionary and then run this, oh my God, sorry guys. Hide floating meeting controls. Now it has a new key 3 that corresponds to the list value. That corresponds to the list value. Okay. This is useful. This is very useful. But there's another element of this, which is creating those list values. So this is a bit of a for loop problem. And what I would recommend you thinking about is looping through each element of else, creating a new temporary list to add as part of your key value pair to this dictionary you have, and then moving on. And you will have to use conditionals to test what each value is, because there are different things you need to do depending on the type of the value that is in this list. Questions about that? Do we feel like we can keep going for another few minutes? Or are we feeling completely confused? Let's play heads up, 7 up. Everyone close your eyes. Thumbs up, middle down. How are we feeling about this? Okay. All right. Cool. I'm going to have you guys struggle with this for a little bit longer. And then we'll go through step by step how I would approach it after another 10 minutes. Yeah, go for it. Okay. Resume recording. So I want to be able to start from a completely new dictionary and end up with this thing based solely on this list. So I want to be able to take basically an arbitrary list and print out a dictionary that follows the criteria that I specified. So I'm just going to start on a completely new line, and then I can reference as I go this syntax here, this thing. And I can reference this thing, which tells me kind of in more intuitive terms what I'm actually trying to do. So let's start with a new dictionary. We're going to call it new dict is equal to, there's a couple of ways to initialize an empty dictionary. This is the, I think the most correct, the most formally proper one, but you can also do it like new dict is equal to empty curly brackets. Those two are saying the exact same thing. So we have a list that is this. And we want to take this list, append things to this dictionary called new dict. So let's say I'm going to call it element because I makes most sense as index. So we're going to call it for element in else. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm actually calling the correct thing. So we're going to say print element. I just want to say, okay, I know what is going on. God, don't do that. And I'm going to comment those out so I don't. Okay, cool. 2 hello 6. That is what I am looking for. I want to access 2 hello and 6 in each iteration. So print statements are a beautiful, beautiful thing that make debugging significantly easier. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create, or I want to say, okay, if my element that I'm looking at is an integer, then I want to do this. Or if the element that I'm looking at is a string, then I want to do this. What are the ways that we've found to check that condition? Yeah. Equals int. Oh my God, I hate VS Code a little bit. Yes, I think most, did you get an error with that? Oh, cool. If type element equals int equals true. Is that what you said? Ah, I see. Okay. So this is redundant, basically. Good. But yes, good. There's another way to do this. So if we say or I'm going to say elif is instance of element, comma, the other one I want to check for is a string, so I'm going to use string. So these two things do the same thing. So if I say if type element equals int, it would be the same thing as saying if is instance element comma int. So those are two ways of writing this conditional. Great. If the element is an integer, what do we want to do? Yeah. Great. So sorry, say that one more time. I think I heard what you said, but I want to make sure. Good, perfect. There was a way to do that with another for loop. I don't really want to do it right now. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to write this out manually. Writing things out manually is not always a bad thing. Especially since it is, God, 250. Okay, fine. That's fine. we're going to call this new list because we don't need it to be anything special. New list is equal to element to the 0th power, element to the 1st power, element to the 2nd power, and element to the 3rd power. Beautiful. Okay. Let's do the same thing with our next condition, and then we can talk about how to append these to the dictionary. So if the element is a string, what am I doing? Yeah. Yep, doing it 4 times. Again, as always, there's an easy way and a hard way to do this. You can write this out manually like I did here, but the easy or the not manual way to do this is a little bit easier. So we're going to instead say new list is equal to element, and then we're going to multiply this element list by 4. Now let's make sure that new list is what I want it to be every time. So we're going to save this. We're going to run it. Okay. The first value is 1, or the first new list is 1, 2, 4, 8. The second new list for the key hello is a list of 4 elements. And then the list value for the third element in our original list is a list of 4 elements of 6, where 6 is the string that we defined it as. That's beautiful. That is exactly what we want. Why is it that when I say print element out here, instead of say print element inside of this conditional if, why is it that it gets it right? Why should I be able to print out the element not inside of the condition? I guess that's a weird question to ask, but it's good to think about. If I do this, or print in Jesus, new list, sorry, and then new list, will this do the same thing that the other way did, where printing it out outside of the conditionals? Thumbs up, middle down. Let's find out. Okay, so it printed it out the exact same way, because we're still in the for loop. So if I print out new list, oh my God, stop doing this. If we printed it out within the conditional, then we're printing out the new list that we've created within the conditional. But if we wait until after the conditional is fulfilled, and we've defined this value or this variable new list for this given iteration of our for loop, and we say print new list, this will give me the exact same thing, because I've defined new list no matter what the condition I'm looking at is. That's a weird thing. If it doesn't quite make sense, that's okay. For now, let's finish this off strong with, okay, now we can actually get to my new dict. I want to alter my new dict. And we can do it either inside of the conditionals or we can do it outside of the conditionals. And the way we can do it, because I want the element in this list that I'm iterating at, I want the element that I am at in this list to be my key, then I can say new dict of element is equal to the new list that I created. So then if I say print new dict, Jesus Christ. Then when I hit save, and I hit play, I will get a dictionary with the key value 2 that is 1248, which is 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2, 2 to the 3, and then a key hello, which is exactly what I want to see. Before we dip out, because we have 2 minutes left, do we have questions about this? I would highly, highly recommend just sitting and pondering that. This is not something that you will necessarily grasp the first time, and that's okay. Also, just a note, we don't expect you to get every single problem on the homeworks done or even done correctly. Learning code is it's a journey, guys. No, it's a slow path. And so we don't even necessarily expect you to do the homework problems this way the first time. Sometimes we expect you to do them just typing them out. And if you do that, maybe you'll get a few points off. But again, this is a pass, no pass, 2-unit class. So don't worry too much. And then you can always revisit the homeworks. We'd rather you attempt the homeworks than get stuck in these logic loops. Also, just a heads up, I will be out of town and out of cell service from the 16th through the 22nd. So I will not be holding my normal office hours, and you will not be able to reach me. This will go up. This and the video will go up right after this class. Cool? I'll bring back pictures. Bye, guys.